Okay, so I've talked to you about this grasshopper lawnmower. It's a 96 mower, and there are a lot of obsolete parts on this thing, so not always excited to see things like this. But I warned him that, you know, comes with old age, you may not be able to fix it or get the parts. So, but it had a broken PTO shaft bearing underneath it. Of course, I've made a video. I'll put it on my other channel. It'll be a few weeks before it pops up. But so I got that put on today. I got some new belts, deck belts put on. There was a tension spring that was broken, and he kind of rigged it up so it would work, and he wanted that replaced. So we got that replaced. It works pretty good. I had Carolyn come out, make sure it ran okay. You know, I told you the other day we were going to have her start helping me with the testing. I'll tell you, this deck is something else. I'm sure I don't know how to put it on correctly or easily. There might be an easier way to do it, but boy, that thing is hard to get on. Just heavy. So I got to sharpen the blade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lawnmower lift. I'm going to wrap a chain around the lift and then hook that in there, and this lifts right up. That way I don't have to try to lift it up and take the blades off. Looking pretty good so far. This will bring in a little bit of money, because he still wants an oil change, air filter, that kind of stuff. Air up the tires, we'll pressure wash it. So it's been a little slow. I've been telling you it's been a little slow. I watch the other YouTube channels that do lawnmower repair, and they're not really making lawnmower videos. They're making educational videos and things they've learned, and it's not really working on lawnmowers right now. So I feel like I'm actually ahead of the game, because I'm actually getting, I don't know, some work. Not a lot, but enough that I can keep busy most of the time. Got a weed eater here that's done. I'm just waiting for the guy to pick it up. He is so slow about picking things up. And then I got a call, I guess yesterday. Yesterday evening. He says, hey, can I bring my mower over around 4:30? Now, I've done a lot of work for this guy. I think I've worked on every piece of equipment he's had. He says he ran into some mesh wire, and he got all the mesh wire off his blades, but now it vibrates real bad. So we'll have to take a look at it and see what it is. But he's pretty good. He's just a really good customer. Of course, he lives in Kansas or Kansas City or somewhere. But so it takes him a little while to pick up. The last thing he had was a snowblower, and it took him well over a month to pick it up, but he did pick it up, and he paid what do you call that, a storage fee. I didn't ask for one, but he gave me one. So that's the kind of customers you want, where they just don't complain, and he always gives me good references. Every time I do work for him, he gets on Facebook and just brags up a storm. So hopefully I can figure out what's wrong. I'm kind of guessing probably a broken spindle. Now, these Cub Cadets, I've seen it before, the deck breaks. So I may have to be welding it. So I'll let him know that I'm not a professional welder. I can try to weld it, or he can take it to a real qualified, you know, welder. That's all they do for a living. So that's up to him. But if it's broke, that's what I'll offer. And, you know, I don't want to do a weld and say, okay, it's guaranteed for life, because I don't know. I think, you know, especially in those sensitive areas where, you know, it's a spindle and it's bouncing around. You know, I welded a wheel back on, you know, the deck wheels. I welded one of those back on, but I don't have any worries about that. That, you know, it's never under that much pressure, unless you run into something, which is probably what broke it off in the first place. So, and we'll see. Like I said, it could just be a spindle, or maybe a blade is off balance. Maybe it got nicked up real bad. So we got that. And then right after that, this morning I got a new Facebook friend, and he says he just bought a mower that he knew that the PTO clutch, the electric PTO clutch, wasn't working. So he said, hey, can I bring that over? So he hasn't even picked it up from the guy he bought it from. So that's good. What else did I get? Got a call today. This is a follow-up call, and so that's pretty exciting. I don't know, a few days ago, he called and said his electrical system wasn't working on his lawnmower, and wanted to know what it could be. And I told him, well, it could be one of three things. Could be the flywheel, the magnets have fallen off the flywheel. Could be the stator, could be the voltage regulator, it could be all three things. Typically, it's two things. I mean, if you're going to get into multiple things, it's two things. If the flywheel magnets fall off, then it could damage the stator, which is basically the alternator. So I told him that. I think he thought he was going to try to fix it himself, because he said, yeah, I just figured it was a voltage regulator. And I said, well, it could be, the other two things, which are more common. The voltage regulator doesn't really go out that often. So he may have just switched out the voltage regulator and realized, nah, that wasn't it, and then brought it to me. But like I said, I'm not sure. I just kind of got a gut feeling. So there's 3 mowers, plus I still got, work to do on this one. So, work is kind of just consistently falling in. The thing that just troubles me with all this is it comes all at once. I haven't had anybody come in all week. Nobody. And all of a sudden, just in one day, I'm going to have 3 or 4. I guess 3. Within a couple days, I should say. Today and tomorrow. So, of course, now the guy who said he was going to bring over the lawnmower that he bought, I haven't heard a word from him. So, we'll see about that, too. So, the last few days, I've been talking to you about customers and the customers' expectations. And I've really been trying to figure out what to do. And the one that troubles me the most, there was 2 of them. One that, a while back I changed the tire and I checked the valves on it. That's all I did. I charged him for the tire, but I didn't charge him for the inspection. And I told him to bring it back in the fall, because it's probably a compression relief problem. Well, he brought it and he had different problems. And I said, no, you need to take it to a dealer, some sort of, expert on X-mark mowers. I just don't know anything about them. And then there was another guy who had a belt, and it was an old mower. I told him it was an old mower, and I put a new belt on it. That's all I did. Tightened it up a little bit, and it came off. And then his neighbor put it on and shredded, so he wants me to replace it and all that stuff. And I'm trying to figure out how to deal with all this. And usually, if anybody suggests anything in the comment sections, they're missing the key aspect of my problem. It's not that I can. I can tell them, no, I don't want to do it. I can tell them all these things. I can just be, no, I ain't doing that, whatever. But I am worried about my reputation, and for whatever reason, when I talk about reputation, nobody seems to understand what I'm talking about, because they completely ignore it when they get down in the comment section. The reputation is more important than money right now. If you don't have a reputation, you don't have customers, you don't have money. So it's a trickle-down effect. I've worked as a consultant trying to improve customer satisfaction, your reputation. That was my job. So I did that for 10 years. I own my own company helping manufacturing companies improve their reputation or customer satisfaction. So, when people get down in the comment section, I've been doing this for 30 years, and now what you got to do is you got to put your foot down. You got to demand that they tell you to do, and on and on and on. But in the end, they're going to get on Facebook, and they're going to gripe and complain and tell everybody how terrible I am, and don't use this guy, and I'll lose customers. I'll lose my reputation. So, no, you don't just sit there and stomp your feet and tell the customer that they're, whatever, because they have the final say. Whether you did it right, whether you did it wrong, whether you tried to make it right, whatever. They have the final say. And so what I'm trying to say is here, I've given away free parts, free spark plugs, free belts, trying to maintain my reputation. Oh, you never should give away. You're going to lose money. Yes, I know I'm losing money. I'm not stupid. I understand that. But if I don't do something, the thing is, even if I give them free parts, they're still not satisfied. They're not happy. The other day I worked on a mower, and I told the guy, I don't want to work on it. I am not qualified to work on your mower. That's the guy who brought it over to get his tire fixed and all that. So he brings it over and says there's engine trouble. And I said, you need to take it to a dealer. And he refused. He just would not do it. No, I trust you. And I've talked about this twice now. I trust you. I trust you. Well, after I got it fixed and it was running and he was happy, I could tell that he didn't have a good experience. And so he says, well, I'll bring you, he said before I worked on the mower, If you know, I'll bring you more work. Don't worry about it. I got a limb, you know, those things that grind up limbs. I got one of those. I got some weed eaters. I want to get it all fixed. And he says, I'll bring those up tomorrow, the next day. Okay. So after I fix his mower, I haven't heard a word about these other items. And the reason is, I'm sure of it, I will never get another job from him ever again. I used to get a lot of work from him. I've worked on 6 or 7 things of his. But I will never get another job because he did not have a good customer experience. I gave him everything for free. Free spark plugs. I gave him an entire day of me working in the rain for free. He had everything he needed. His mower is running. He's completely satisfied. But he will never give me any work again because I said I didn't want to work on his mower. So even trying to be honest and say I'm not qualified to work on a mower, they'll still walk away unsatisfied and won't come back. So, you know, getting down in the comment section and tell me how dumb I am, I'm not dumb. I know what's going to happen. I know customer satisfaction. I know reputation. I know customer experience, which is different. You can be totally satisfied with the customer, you know, the item that you have purchased. You're completely happy with it. But the experience was negative somehow or another. You got in an argument with the cashier or something. You're happy with the product. You're happy how fast you got in the store. You got happy how fast you got out of the store. You're happy you could find the product. It was all there. You're satisfied. But your experience was terrible with the cashier. So you'll never go back. Same thing. I told the guy that I didn't want to work on his mower. That didn't make him angry. He wasn't angry. He just didn't have a good experience. So he won't come back. So I've been trying to figure out what to do with this, and I really think the best policy is where I was heading with that guy. Yes, I know I'm going to lose the customer. It's quite obvious. It just happens. Customer experience, the shopping experience, the experience. He got everything for free. His mower is working, and he didn't have a good experience, so he won't be back. So I think it's better to lose a customer for poor experience than it is for poor performance. So I will continue to tell people I don't want to work on their mowers. And the next time, instead of just giving away a bunch of time and a bunch of parts, I'll just straight up refuse. I won't let them bully me into taking their mower like he did. I will just straight up say, no, I'm not working on it. It's just too risky. He wanted me to adjust the valves. I mean, I had to adjust the valves because that was the problem, one of the problems. But I had no information. I told you this in a previous video. I adjusted it 4,000 to 6,000. That's pretty standard across the board. But I could not find any information on it. I was not qualified to work on it because I didn't know. I couldn't find the information. So I adjusted it, and it was wrong. So I could have damaged his mower even worse and then been held responsible to replace his mower for a job that I did for free, if that makes any sense. So the other one is you know, you replace a belt, the belt falls off. On old mowers, you can tell people all day long, hey, this is an old mower. I'll put a belt on it, but that may not fix the problem, which I did. It may not fix the problem. So you put a new belt on it, you test it out the best you can, you take it back to him, and the belt falls off. Well, what did he do? He immediately went to his neighbor's house and said, hey, I just got this belt put on by a mechanic and it fell off. And now the neighbor's upset. So they both, the guy who had me put the belt on, had a bad customer experience, had a bad customer satisfaction. He has low customer satisfaction because he paid money and didn't get what he wanted. Even though I told him, you may not get what you want. The neighbor had bad experience. He's never met me, doesn't know a thing about me, but he's had bad experience. So he'll never use me. So to get in the comment section and write a book telling me that I need to learn how to run a business, I developed businesses. That was my job. And when you're working with the public, it is very difficult. The biggest problem is the liabilities. We don't have a lot of money. So that's what makes me so concerned about running this lawnmower repair business. It's actually a hobby. I keep calling it a hobby, lawnmower repair hobby. Then running a company. I ran a company for 10 years. Went to manufacturers, and I had always been able to maintain high customer satisfaction. But when you're just dealing with the general public, it's almost impossible, because everybody nowadays is angry. Everybody is a manipulator. Everybody is a gaslighter. Everybody is a narcissist. Everybody knows everything about how to repair lawnmowers. And the only person that doesn't know anything is the guy who can repair lawnmowers. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video on my other channel, and it's a brand new video today. So if I can inspire you to think through what you're doing so you live your dreams. Thanks for watching.